Ladies and gentlemen, this is an article, ABC Detroit, and it's an article that came out when? Just a little while back. Macomb County prosecutors say criminal charges possible against Governor Whitmer over lives lost in elderly care facilities. ABC Detroit, the article will be below in the description section. Just go to the description section and you will see this article. Criminal charges could be in the works against Governor Gretchen Whitmer over putting infected people inside elderly care facilities used as hubs early in the pandemic. Just for the algorithm, I'm actually using a couple of words here and there that are different. So instead of a word for life lost, I'm just saying lives lost. But here, new Macomb County Prosecutor Peter Lucido says people who lost loved ones as residents or staff inside these facilities should go back to get the vital information about the circumstances of their demise and take that to local police and make a complaint as a wrongful, like somebody who lost their life in a wrongful manner. Lucido says with HIPAA laws, he can't get information in his own investigation. So this is also what took place with Governor Cuomo. I've been talking about this for the past year with Cuomo. I said, there are stories out now, New York Post, others. I mean, you better believe the New York Times was not investigating what took place. Like, the New York Times, you would think, would ask why New York presided over, why the governor of New York presided over the absolute worst outcomes. New York was the epicenter of all of this for the past year. God bless the people of New York and New Jersey. They deserve better than Cuomo and Murphy. But here, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is currently under investigation for allegedly doctoring the number of lives lost inside elderly care facilities. Lucido says only 5 states, including Michigan and New York, use the care facilities as hubs. Why would... It doesn't list all the states, but why would Michigan and New York use these? And it doesn't if it's a Republican, if it's a red state or blue state, the governor should be held accountable. And if we know that lives were lost because of the decisions of Cuomo and the governor of Michigan. We know that. And now associated with this, there's allegations of hush money. So with Whitmer, it's like Michigan GOP to probe Whitmer's $155,000 hush money deal as new severances emerge. This is a bridge. So this will be below in the pinned comment as well. This is bridgemichigan.com. Lansing, Michigan governor will be under investigation for an expensive separation and confidentiality deal with her former health department director that experts are calling a rare arrangement that may fuel distrust. It's hush money, according to legislative Republicans who plan to investigate the $155,506 payout they contend was designed to ensure a top health official would not discuss controversial orders that were deployed behind closed doors. Now, let's get back to Macomb County Prosecutor Peter Lucido. Lucido tells 7 Action News, if we find there's been willful neglect of office, if we find there's been reckless endangerment of a person's life by bringing them in, then we would move forward with charges against the governor. Of course we would. Nobody's above the law in this state. So why isn't Cuomo experiencing... Well, actually he is. There's a very courageous individual Democrat, actually, Ron Kim in New York, he was the only courageous Democrat out there going after Cuomo. So you have Cuomo and Witmer, you have 2 governors who were praised by MSNBC and CNN and the Washington Post and the New York Times. Cuomo even has a book deal. And now we're finding out that their decisions directly led to loss of life. It wasn't Trump's decision. Trump is presiding over the federal government. He was just impeached. His first time in early February, the Senate acquitted him for the first time. Okay, twice acquitted. And you say, well, whenever Democrats are caught, they say, well, it's not, we were learning. Hit subscribe to this channel right this second. Tell your friends about this channel. I will have a live stream later this evening. But it's like, When Democrats are caught, they say, well, it was a learning experience. They asked Andrew Cuomo's brother on CNN, or I think somebody, and he said, well, there were missteps, but he was learning. They never give that benefit of the doubt to Trump, and Trump never sent Americans into facilities to infect everyone else within those facilities. This crisis affects the elderly more so than anyone else. So if you look, this was last week. I took a screenshot last week because sometimes, the New York Times asks for a subscription. But this is just from last week. California and New York, if you combine the lives lost, they say over half, 500,000 lives lost in the country. If you combine the lives lost, it's 100,000. So 1 out of 5 in just 2 states. Okay? 1 out of 5 in just 2 states. Then you add Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Illinois. That's about 170,000 Americans within those 5 states. And then you 6 and 7 of the top 11, Michigan and Massachusetts are over 30,000. So it's about 200,000. You're approaching half of all the lives lost in around 7 states. Well, it's not half exactly, but you're approaching 40% or so. Okay? And in 7 states, you have 200,000 lives lost of the 500. Okay? Democrats presided, and I didn't take a screenshot of all the other, but if you can add up Democratic-run states below, in about 10 Democratic-run states, you can easily get well over the 250,000. 250,000. So you're talking about around 10 Democratic-run states. You have over half of all the lives lost in this country. We have 50 states. Democrats still say, if you don't listen to us, you're going to perish. If you don't listen to us, you're going to lose your life. If you don't listen to us, and when President Trump got it, and when you have conservatives who lost their life, all you got was the most despicable, nasty, nefarious, shameful, gleeful, oh, you see? Well, I guess that person not doing this, I guess he learned his or her lesson. And it's like, wait a second, how are you going to pontificate and judge and condemn when you presided over the worst outcomes? When the top 4 per capita rates, you can look at the top 4 per capita rates, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Top 4. What happened? So Democrats presided over the worst outcomes, yet science is on their side? How does that work? The states that had the least number of lives lost with the best economy, so red states did much better. Florida did much better. They're not even within the top 10 in terms of per capita. Okay? They're not even within the top 10. They're not even within the top 10. Okay? In terms of per capita. But you look and DeSantis just gets scorned. Cuomo got propped up. He even wrote a book. Now he's like completely disgraced. You could take this further. Lincoln Project, absolutely disgraced. The entire edifice of their public relations, like the entire public relations structure is coming crashing down. And now you have criminal charges because the Republicans in Michigan, they have a much stronger presence than Republicans in New York. But even Democrats in New York are now going after Cuomo. But you have this situation where it's taken this long. And you cannot, there's nothing Trump did that's directly responsible for lives lost. Nothing. Okay? That's like saying Biden is directly responsible now for all the lives lost that took place while he was president. Okay? I thought that, if you're going to blame Trump, well, what is it that Biden reversed that saved lives on a federal level? Nothing. Can you tell me? Nothing. That shot in the arm, that's President Trump. That happened during Trump's administration that Biden's trying to take credit for. So you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where you're finally getting whatever the word is, reckoning. I love that word. When it was $2 billion in $1 to $2 billion in property damage, 19 lives lost, and fiery yet peaceful protests, it was a reckoning. So now what's happening to Cuomo and Witmer? The links are below. I will be having a live stream later this evening. But ladies and gentlemen, it's just pretty unbelievable the level of groupthink. Liberal Democrats, or just people who don't like Trump, view him as a monster. Like worse than George W. Bush, but George W. Bush actually destabilized an entire region of the world and presided over the worst presidency. What did Trump do? The pandemic was not his fault, and now you're seeing the true culprits. So I want to know, aside from his personality, remove his personality, what did this man do for people to despise him so much, aside from his personality? Remove his personality, because you have Andrew Cuomo, who is viewed as like America's governor. Now he's completely disgraced, and we're finding out that lives were lost directly, like we're talking 15,000 to his decision making, and we're talking well over 2,000 to Witmer. I mean, in your life, did you ever make a decision that cost the lives of 2,000 people? Like, you can, the governor of Michigan can say, well, we were trying our best. It's like, well, you could say you're trying your best. You could say anything you want. Your decision led to, this was a crisis that affected the elderly the most. We knew this from the very beginning. The variation of this in years past always affects the elderly the most. Any, type of issue associated with this affects the elderly is the group that is affected the most. You knew this as governor. Everyone knew this. And yet you still decide to use these elderly care facilities as hubs? And of course I'm speaking in like roundabout terms here and there because I'm always good with the algorithm and my relationship is pristine, but it's difficult to talk about these things, and I try my best. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is an important segment, people. The link is below. This is a very, very important segment. Be here tonight for the live stream.